I think I just saw an Instagram quote not too long ago that I thought was really cool. I think Jordan Wildman actually sent me the video. Did he send you the same one?
I don't know yet.
It's about kids, so probably not. But it just says the only thing that you have a chance at taking to heaven with you is your kids.
Oh, wow.
And so then I think about fatherhood and how you raised Silas. So we had him on the podcast.
You did, yeah. And by the way, he's not that incredible. But go ahead.
So we need you to say that again with the camera facing down.
So
we're gonna clip that.
So when it comes to parenting and that sort of thing, I feel like with Silas, like he was specifically telling us that he didn't do super great in school, but it didn't seem like he felt a lot of judgment from you and from mom and that sort of thing. Like he wasn't getting continuously beat up about it. He was just like, I knew, and everybody around me knew that like I wasn't going to be an A+ student. I was never going to be that guy. So I did the best that I could. And sometimes I was ADHD and all over the place, but I knew I was going to find my niche somewhere else. So when it comes to like parenting, what advice do you have for people? What was your experience? What were you blessed with? Because I feel like with my daughter, I'm like, dude, she was exactly perfectly what I needed. And just to help me like develop, grow up. Like she's so cute. Like she's the best.
She's incredible.
Yeah. She's the best. She's the best. She just ended up being. I was like, how did I get blessed with like the best kid for me? And so I'm wondering if there are moments where you were like, this is great and this is perfect, and then other moments where you're like, why did I end up with this kid? What is God doing to me?
Moments. But one of the things, going back to this call, so we went to Russia in 1993. We lived in about once we got settled after the hotel for several weeks, we settled in about a 900 square foot apartment with a family of 6. So we're on top of each other.
In Russia?
In Russia.
Oh, my God.
We're in an apartment, and the kids did develop friendships really quick, and they picked up on the language quickly. But still, there was no movies to go to. There wasn't much on TV. We had a little bit of TV stuff going on with videotapes and stuff, but we had a lot of quality time in that 900 square foot apartment that I'm really grateful for, because it was a season of life. As I look over my last, 70 years, that which I can look over, that 7 years in Russia was an incredible season of our life for our family. Impactful season. I think my kids, including Silas, say, wow, it was a great time. The worldview that they've developed, the friendships they've developed, a second language, and then the relationship with mom and dad, you just can't buy that. And so I'm really grateful for that. It was also before, there wasn't iPhones. Didn't have phones, So again, and in the Russian culture, relationships are really, really important. It's different. I can't explain it. The old adage was, would you rather have $1 million or 1 million friends? In Russia, you'd always say it'd be 1 million friends. And they really built relationships. So I think that was really critical, and that included in our own family having great relationships. I told the kids stories. You put them in 2 rooms that are 8 inches apart or whatever. How are they going to go to sleep? Well, I got my kids in their beds, and I make up these stories, and literally that was a very regular basis. I usually tell them stories that were very long, several chapters long. I tell them one chapter, okay, well, the chapter 2's tomorrow night. Assuming you're good, blah blah blah. And so is that kind of a relationship and time that we went through as a family that was really good.
That's awesome.
Good.
Yeah, I used to tell my daughter bedtime stories too, and I would make them up. And I used to tell her, we got like a tiger there on the back wall. Yeah. So I'm Tony the tiger.
Okay.
And so I used to make up stories of like, there was a princess. I don't know, like what's her name be? Let's just say Presley. Let's just say her name was Presley. She's like, that's my name. I'd be like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And she wrote on this tiger. I don't know. The tiger's name's Tony.
Being creative. I mean, I think we're also called, as God is our creator, and He's created us to create. And so if we can be creative in our families with our kids, unfortunately, sometimes our iPhones and social network pulls us aside, and we don't spend the time that we need to. But I'm really grateful for that season, particularly in the development of our kids. Yeah.
Is there anything about Russia that you didn't like so much, or values that you didn't want to instill, or?
Well, yeah, the kids at a very young age drink alcohol and smoke, and my kids were, involved in that some. I went out of my apartment one day, and Silas is like 13 years old. He's got the longest cigar in your mouth. He goes, "What are you doing?" Well, like it's nothing wrong with it. Seriously. So some of those habits or some of those things that kids will gravitate towards is interesting. I won't mention the entity, but one of the big cigarette makers in the United States. We're going through a period where they realized, oh, these aren't good for you, and they were kind of doing some things here to make you think that they were on board with that concept. You won't believe what they were doing in Eastern Europe. They were putting up big tents, going out on the streets with these pretty girls and giving anybody that wants them free cigarettes.
Wow.
Market share's falling here, but they're going to go over there. That really bugged me. I thought, man, here's a 60 Minutes or 2020 waiting to happen. What they were doing. But anyway, big difference. And that was a problem. And the kids, two of my boys went into Ukraine a few years later and did a thing on drug addiction there and the use of alcohol, which misuse of alcohol. And they showed a 12-year-old kid going up to a kiosk outside little shops and buying a beer right in front of him and popping it, and off he went. They just didn't care. It wasn't requirements. Kind of laws that you should buy by, but nobody did. So it's a problem.
What are the biggest values that you instill in your kids? Like in your 4 kids, like what's the biggest ones? You're like, hey, if you had top 5, these are the most important ones. What would they be?
My kids are boys, so love
all 4.
My daughter passed away.
Oh, okay.
Sarah, she passed away when she's 15. We were home and there was an accident. And,
oh my gosh.
Lost her 24 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So 3 boys. Boys, love your wives. Spend time with your family the much you can. They're beginning to understand. They're all involved in sports now, and they're participating as coaches and as moms driving to the the various locations and sports and so on and so forth. And then also put church in your recipe, and that's hard. I mean, especially some of these sports things now are on Sunday mornings or whatever. But put church in your recipe early, because as those kids get to now at their ages, they're interested. But if you don't, when they get 12 or 13, trust me, they'll find better things in their minds to do.
Right.
And I'm trying to convey our primary purpose is to glorify God. And my own motto is, I'm here to glorify God. I'm here to do good works, which is biblical, and to teach and encourage others to do the very same thing. Glorify God, do good works, and teach and encourage others. That's my motto. I think it's biblically based.
I like it. A couple of your kids, I don't know all 4 of them. Obviously, I know Nate and Silas, but they have this entrepreneurial thing where they're like very successful business people. You are doing pretty well business-wise too. So where did that come from? Like what? Because like you got this side of you that's like church, but then you are that way, the business side, and they're that way. And so like whether you wanted to or not, it feels like the value's somewhere there. Where do you think that comes from, or where does it fit in?
It's in my DNA, and it's in my wife's family's DNA. So they've seen it growing up. My dad was an inventor.
Okay.
He did all kinds of crazy things, nothing that really, made him millions of dollars, but he was inventing liquid food for chickens. He's special flooring out of corn cobs, cleaning compounds. He actually invented, before it was actually came out, putting seed in like a tube, and then you'd put it down in the ground, and that tube would dissolve and you plant it that way. I don't know if he was the first, but he actually invented that concept.
Wow.
So he had it. And he owned his own business and was involved in some sales things as well. So definitely on his side. And then my father-in-law and my mother-in-law own their own real estate company. And they were builders, again, creators. So I think it's in our DNA from both sides of the family.
Okay.